Welcome to Riverbend Talent on WBGZ. Brought to you by the Halpin Music Company.
Dennis Laird with you, Pigpen 2, brought to you by Halpin Music Company. Make sure you stop in Halpin Music and thank them for supporting Riverbend Talent. It's our Halloween edition. We also want to thank Mr. Matt Van Voorhis from Macias Insurance for his sponsorship. And if you need insurance, make sure you get a hold of Matt.
Yeah, thanks for the good insurance. Not just the sponsorship, the good insurance.
If we're going to be investigating ghosts.
I'm telling you what. And we got some serious ghost investigators going on here with us doing our spooky Halloween show. I don't know how spooky it is, but it's going to be pretty interesting. We've got my old friend Dr. Michael Lynch sitting with us today.
How you doing, Pigpen? Been a long time.
Been a while.
Been a long time.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
And we've got Vicki Main, another old friend.
Yes,
it's been a long time.
A long time.
We've been in a few spooky places together.
Just one or two.
Yeah. Over the years, we've done a few investigations and been in some spooky places, and this is going to be a first for you, right? The Stratford Hotel?
Absolutely. I've been to many different locations in Alton, and the Stratford Hotel has always been kind of something you worked around because you just couldn't get access to it.
Yeah.
And so tonight we will go upstairs and we will look around.
Yeah. It just so happens that we come to the Stratford Hotel every week to do this show, so we're pretty aware of what goes on around here.
We've heard some stories, and just so the listeners know, Pigpen met these guys when he was on the Dave Glover show, and this was a normal.
Paranormal Tuesday. Right? Yeah, Paranormal Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
We did for a long time.
We did that segment for 14 years.
Yeah,
14 years. There was a couple of months I took off as just, family vacations.
Yeah.
But I was dedicated to that segment for 14 years for free. So I just kind of said, well, I kind of want to pass the torch. And at the time, my health wasn't very well at the time, and I needed a little break. And so I kind of took some time off, but I always enjoyed it. And the paranormal to me is just like a lot of things. We need to look at it. We need to investigate it. There are guys out there who do quantum physics, and, Neil deGrasse Tyson talks about astronomy, and Hawking talks about theoretical physics and things like that. That's okay. But they're not as brave as the average person who gets a camera and goes and looks for ghosts. That is the antithesis of bravery right there. And I've been doing this, we've been doing this for 20 some odd years, 25, 26 years?
24, I think now.
24 years?
I think 24 years we've been together.
Yeah.
So 24 years. And in that 24 years, you've been to Alton dozens of times.
And I'm still learning about Alton. And let me just tell you a quick story. We'll get to Vicki here in just a second. Let me just tell you a quick story. There was a story written many years ago. It was Jim Longo's book. There was some stories of Alton in there. And what got me interested in Alton was there was a little boy who would ride a tricycle up and down the street. And when people would come out, they would see the boy from inside the house. And then when they'd come out on the street, he would have blonde hair, and he had like a 1800s kind of like black, the frilly collar and the little tie, something like Eddie Munster would wear.
Right.
Okay. And he would be on this tricycle, and he'd be driving up and down the sidewalk, and people would say, "Whose child is that?" And they would walk out, and they would look, and he'd disappear, just be gone. Tricycle would be gone, the boy would be gone.
Wow.
And then they would go in, and a couple of days later, here was this blonde-headed little boy riding up and down the sidewalk. Now, this goes on for 5 years, and the neighbors are all concerned that this boy is just like a runaway, a derelict. And then some old person said, no, that is the ghost that goes up and down the sidewalk in this thing. Now, that really intrigued me, because here was a spectral phenomenon that was evident and viewable and identifiable, and it was real. I mean, people were seeing this in 3D.
Yeah.
So I said, I got to get over to Alton and check this out. Well, I never really got to that story or that street or that block. Now, someone's listening probably knows all about it, but that is what intrigued me about Alton until, a few years later, we found out that, man, what is not haunted in Alton? And that's when Vicki and I, like I said, I watch her back, and she's a psychic, and she watches kind of everybody's back. So, Vicki,
yes,
tell people what you do and how you protect us all.
Oh, okay. I'm a psychic. I do readings, but I also am able to talk to the other side. So when we do these investigations, part of my job is to find out who's here, why they're here, and possibly move them on where they belong on the other side. Okay? And what I do is I call for the white light of protection for everybody, so that sometimes you come across benevolent entities and people, they can't hurt people. And so I do the white light of protection so everybody's protected and nobody gets hurt during these investigations.
One thing I always hear is be careful of what door you're opening. You'll never know what could possibly come through that door. So this is what you're doing. You're protecting whoever's involved in this possible portal that we're opening.
Right. Well, we're not opening a portal because the place is already haunted.
Okay.
We're investigating what's already there.
So a little different than, Ouija board is something that's connected to
don't
what
play
I'm
with the
talking
Ouija
about.
board.
Right, because you can open doors.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't know really who you're
So that's a
talking
little
to.
different than what you do.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It going along with Vicki, because she is a psychic, she can kind of get a lot of information from the other side. And she's correct. These places are already haunted. What we're doing is opening our biological field of energy, our experience, to a broader view of what is really there. So if let's say I turn around and I don't see you three people that are here in this room, then I just go about my daily routine not knowing you're there. But as soon as I realize you're there, I have a thousand things I have to kind of get used to real quick in order to be comfortable enough to start asking questions. Okay. And then this is where Vicki comes in as a resource, information, and tool that she can douse. We can ask questions. It can be yes or no, or she can fill in some of the gaps with her guide's information.
Or the information, because I can talk directly to the entities, to the spirits. I don't have to go through my guide. I can talk to them direct.
And we're going to be doing that later on in the show. We're going to be going upstairs and contacting some entities. But first, let's talk a little bit about the places you've already been in Alton. So let's talk about, say, the Milton School.
Oh man, the Milton School, and the people that owned it when I was there, the young couple, let us kind of cruise around through the entire school, and we found tons of evidence. There were two things there that I had actually seen in another location, but there were two things there that I'd never seen really the way they actually operated and worked. And that was sentinel angels and guardian angels. And there's always been a question why investigators don't get possessed when they go to a haunted location. Because there is an angel there, like a lifeguard. And that angel keeps the entities away from the people, as well as the people kind of not getting involved too much with the entities. So these sentinel angels stand by. And when I was there, man, I was up on the stage in the basketball court, and they had that stage there, and we went underneath the stage to the prop area down there. And man, that was just a lot of stuff. And there was this one angel, guide or angel. It's hard, but he looked just like a butterfly. Looked just like a butterfly, and every time he came around, he looked just like a butterfly, and I could just see him. Wow. And he was just flying around, and he was the buffer between us
and them.
Now, when everyone first arrived, they just turned the mics on the recorders just to test them, audio check. And during the first 3 or 4 minutes, we had several voices of children running up and down the hallways playing tag. And you could hear them talk to each other.
Wow.
Now, there is a video clip where I am just in the hallway. Now, I didn't hear this EVP until later. And then I'm in the hallway, I see these orbs going, just zigzagging around, and it looks like a wind is blowing down the hallway. And I come to find out, those were the kids that were on the EVP, and they were right there among us.
Wow.
And people started to, this is getting kind of freaky. So during that evening, we actually put a contestant, a person, in a isolated booth. And we gave her a standardized just recorder to record any sensations or feelings that she might be experiencing. Okay, she said, okay, I kind of feel a little cold. but I don't hear anything. I'm feeling, a little dizzy, but I'm really not moving. And then when we played that audio back of her experience, in the background was the same child we caught before, giggling and laughing, that they were still playing in that area. So however the voices penetrated through the environment, it cut straight through that isolated booth that she was in. And so we are talking about consciousness and voices on frequencies that go through objects, go through in, normal matter. So we in the last several years, Vicki and I and several of our friends got together and said, we are not really investigating ghosts as per se. What we're investigating is consciousness, the energy and the flexibility and the plasma, the malleable idea of consciousness, because that's what really survives. Now, you can call it your soul or your astral body or your whatever. But anyway, we call it the hub of your consciousness. So everything is there. Your characteristics are there. Your memories, your talents.
Right.
So like if you want to play the piano, like if you play the guitar or the piano in this life, you'll probably want to play the guitar or piano in the next life. And if you're a farmer in this life, you'll probably want to be a farmer in the next life. If that's your slice of heaven, you maintain it and continue it. Okay. Now,
I disagree.
well, no, wait a minute. So when we get into this, we start realizing in some cases what is their slice of heaven. And Vicki had just come back from an investigation where this couple stayed in this house.
Oh, yeah.
And he was an ex-military. They built the house. They added on to the house. That was their house. Just because they're dead doesn't mean they have to go someplace.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So they were still in the house.
They They were a married couple, and he had built the house, and he added on 2 garages that he built, and he was a builder in the military, and that was their house. It was that simple, and they were staying there.
And they're not leaving. Too much work put into it.
They're gone.
Not leaving, man.
That's right.
No, they're gone now.
We're still paying on this thing.
Black and white. Black and white. We're not going to go. We build this house. Okay, let's.
Excuse me.
Go ahead.
They are gone.
Oh, they are gone.
They are gone.
She got them to move on.
Yes, I got them to move on. Again, I used St. Michael the Archangel.
St. Michael the Archangel helped move them on to the light. There you go.
Let's just go down the list of places that I've been, places I'd love to go back to, and let's tell you the top of the list, McPike Mansion. It is a scare and a half, even for me. The data that there's like 1,900 entities on the entire property. In one evening, we videotaped probably 1,700 entities. Okay, in an hour. That was like the first hour they're there. After that, I'm like, oh my God. I took that hour video, whittled it down to 30 minutes, okay, and put everything into slow motion. And you just couldn't count the entities there. That is like scare fest, rock fest, ghost 24/7. The Unitarian Church is haunted. It has a couple of entities in that. We did that for Scariest Places on Earth back in 2001, and the ghosts are still there. There was a reverend or a priest that hung himself there, and he's still there. And there's a couple of other entities that go in and out of there quite a bit. What was really funny was when we were doing this live performance for Destination America, they used the Unitarian Church to do our interviews in. I was there going, we're in a haunted church doing haunted interviews about the Exorcist house. It was totally silly. The Sulphur Springs Hotel.
Mineral Springs.
Mineral Springs Hotel. Been there. The swimming pool in the basement is like the epicenter of everything. I had gone all the way through that building, and they were remodeling it, and I expected a lot of stuff to be there. We went through the top floor, all the wings. We came down, and there was nothing. And I told Jim and Gomez, my partners at the time, I said, well, there's got to be someplace else. And the guy goes, oh, yeah, we got a pool. I go, cool. Yeah. I said, well, let's go, man.
Yeah, down the basement, man.
Down the basement. And there they were, man, like 8 or 9 big fluffy entities just floating around. That was like the whole, it blew the doors off of what we thought were small, nice, little benign entities. These suckers were big, like basketball size.
Wow.
Really shocked us in the size and complexity. Then there was an old coffee shop, which we did for Scariest Places on Earth, and it was a coffee shop down there, and they had an entity, and they said that they actually saw a person, full-bodied apparition, come in the door and go up these steps, and they don't allow anybody up those steps, you know. And so they ran up the steps, and it was nobody was there. And so they had just installed an infrared security system. And there was a psychic that had been there. I don't think Vicki was there at the time, but there was another psychic there. I think the crew brought her in or whatever. And she said that this entity liked to play cards. And so I said, okay. I told the owners, hook up your new security system, get out a deck of cards, and shuffle some cards and throw them out. And they did, and that entity just showed right up, and it was like a little fairy. It looked like a little fairy on the videotape, and it floated around, and it was checking us all out. And it was just there. It was just there. Just, you know, it just lived there. It was just there.
And you were playing his game.
And I was playing his game.
He was coming down
to check it out. So we kind of learned, like, you know, kind of draw these things out. They're very curious. They're very intriguing. And so if we can kind of draw them out a little bit, it really helps us capture that evidence and the detail. Oh, my God. There's 2 or 3 other places I've been to. You know, I know that some people have said yay and nay about the Fox House, the old Fox House up here before you get to the McPike, I think. Yeah. And they said that is haunted. I have not myself personally been there, but other people have come back with EVP evidence and other things like that. So I do know that is haunted. Troy Taylor wrote several books on the haunted Alton, and he made a small, inquiries, investigations. But at the same time, he didn't really over-investigate. He didn't go back more repeated times. Right. So if you can't repeat the experiment, it's kind of hard to know if you're getting the data. So one time, we were out at the old Civil War memorial there, where they had the stones up there. And as soon as we pulled up, we had our stuff on, and these orbs just jumped up out of the grass and flew right at us.
Wow.
And then as we go, wow, that's cool, we turn around, and then this big spider web thing. I mean, it looked like spider webs. And it just came right behind them and went right around. And we had 2 cameras set up. And so there's one camera shooting in one direction, another camera shooting they both have the same lighting system on, both the same exact camera. So we know we're dealing in infrared. And that sucker went right in front of one, right around the other, and close up, it looked like a giant blob of spider webs.
Wow.
Shocking. Shocking. I've never seen that again. I've only seen a mist. I've seen a mist.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen now the spider webs and the orbs and these other things. And these things were not small. We compared them to the brick that was there. And the bricks are 12 inches tall. So these things were as big around as
the bricks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So there you go. We gotta draw some entities out. That's gonna be our goal. And I'm hoping to see a spider web one. All right, so we're gonna take a break though, and then we're gonna move this party from this studio deeper into the hotel and see what we can come up with. So we'll be back on Riverbend Talent with more from Dr. Michael Lynch and Vicki Main right after this.
You're listening to Riverbend Talent. Now here's Dennis and Pigpen.
Back now, and we're upstairs near the Sky Room in the Hotel Stratford. We're going to investigate the hotel now and see what we can find out. We've been walking around a little bit. We've got a few hits, I guess, and so we'll talk about that. But first, Pigpen, introduce who's all sitting at the table with us.
Okay, well, we were just talking to Dr. Michael Lynch. He talked about some of the haunted places he's been in Alton. He's sitting here with us in the upper part of the Stratford with his camera, catching all kinds of movements and entities. At the other end of the table, we have Miss Vicki Main, who I've known for a long time, but haven't seen for a while.
I know.
So it's nice to see you again.
Nice to see you.
She's here with her dowsing rods. And now, Vicki, you have... When you douse, do you talk to the spirits directly, or do you have an angel that is the link between you and the spirit, or how does that work when you douse the spirits?
Well, the dowsing rods tell me the strength of the energy by the way they open up, how strong the energy is in the room, okay? As far as communicating, I'm direct.
You're
with
direct,
them.
okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to be doing some dowsing. Vicki Main will be doing the dowsing as we ask the questions, and we is not only me and Dennis, but I have
Studio audience.
a studio audience, live studio audience here. We have Jennifer Nelson to my left, and Cassandra Nelson, her daughter, and we have Alex Honky next to Dennis, and Jenna Honky, his wife. So the Honkies and the Nelsons are here with us. So we've got quite the group here to bear witness to whatever goes down here tonight.
All right. So how do we do this?
Well, first of all, let's talk to Dr. Lynch about just what you've seen in the past few minutes, just walking around the hotel.
Well, what I've seen so far is about 8 individual entities. Now, when we first got up to this level, I'm not sure what level this is, but this level, Vicki's rods immediately went out, flat out, showing that there is a vortex of energy, or there's energy present. And so my job is to back her up on this, and I look for anything that's in motion that will be flying around her, or in front of her, or behind her. And of course, no one has my back on this, so I'm really just backing her up. And then she starts to feel the entities, male, female, old, young, things like that. And then if I get any type of orb, light, anomaly, anything like that that's around her, or even a good 5 or 6 feet from her, then I know we're in the ballpark. That's a hit. And then when she came out of this area, reception area, or whatever it was, they just came with her, right behind her. So then her rods kind of collapsed back to normal, so that she was out of that energy zone. But that's what we try to get as energy evidence. Now, many people think that they can whip out a machine, a magnometer, something like that, and detect these energies. But because of the structure that we're in, it could be any wiring, any poor conduction of any energy in an old building. So we throw that out completely. We don't whip out a device. We have Vicki. She is our psychic, and she is tuned to these energies. And then she also has her protection from her angels that actually protect her from anything else that might be in the room. So that's what we try to do. Then I just send over to Vicki, and then she'll try to tell us who is here and why they're here.
Okay, so you don't have an angel that is your interpreter or your go-between, but you do have an angel that as a protector.
My guide is St. Gabriel the Archangel.
St. Gabriel the Archangel, and that protection from all.
He protects me, but as I said before, and as you remember, when we do these things, I do the white light of protection for everybody here.
Oh, that's good.
So because I don't feel anything benevolent or anything that we need to worry about, but then again, I'm not going to push the issue.
I'm up for protection. I always wear protection.
Especially in the Stratford Hotel. We're going to see the ghost of the oldest prostitute of Alton tonight. No, I don't know.
Maybe.
Anyway, so why don't we start with the protection then? Maybe we should do that first before we get any deeper into this.
Yeah, I would like to do that.
All right, let's do that.
And it's just very simple. I just ask for the protection of the white light to come to everybody at this table, to fill them, and protect all of us tonight from any danger, any entities, anything. And I thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, he's turning the light off, huh?
We don't need the white light. We have protection from the white light, so we no longer need that white light. That's just my thinking. What do I know? Okay, so now we can get back into it. So you said you saw entities.
About 8.
About 8 of them, and that was both in the reception area and in the Sky Lounge over there?
When we opened the doors to the Sky Lounge, you guys were walking through, they just came in behind you, about 3 or 4 just followed you right in. And then when I was in there just a second ago, I saw one, and of course they left the door open, and it came around the door and flew over toward the window. I think this young lady was, you were there, and flew around her and then flew out again. So they are very active. They know we're here. Then again, these entities are very curious. They're a curious type of entity. They are fascinated, like, why are we here? What are we doing? Things like that. And if they have the ability to communicate, either through Vicki or however, then they'll try to do that if they have any unresolved business.
All right. How do we get them to communicate? I guess we just ask them a question.
Well, now you had said you sort of pick up on these entities, age, old. Is there any feeling you've gotten from any of the entities so far about any specifics on them?
Well, in that room, whatever that room is over there.
It's the bar.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Over there, I did pick up and was able to communicate with a male that was in there. And he died here in the hotel. He didn't say he was murdered. He just said he died. Okay? And he said he just likes it. He just wants to stay here. He's just attached. Sometimes it's just that simple.
Right.
But I also picked up on a child. And the child is trapped, but I haven't figured that out yet. Why this child is trapped here or feels that it's trapped here. It's probably something I'm going to have to deal with.
So children not immune to the ghosty world.
No, they're not.
Yeah. So now the gentleman in the bar must have spent a few good nights in that bar if he's just going to hang out here. I bet his last night wasn't his best night. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I can tell you that there's a lot of what I call transient entities.
Oh, wow.
That kind of come through here and leave. They don't stay here, as opposed to like the gentleman that stays here. There's a lot that just kind of
It's
come.
a hotel.
Yeah, they come, they kind of see, okay, what's going on, whatever, and they leave.
So we've got some stable ghosts that live here, and some entities that are just coming and going, treating it like the old Stratford still. Now with the way that you do your dowsing, how does that work?
My dowsing, my dowsing rods, they will open to the amount of energy, the strength of the energy in wherever we're at. So the farther they go back, the stronger the energy is in that particular area.
Back there.
Yeah, I don't know why they're doing that. Yeah, I know.
There must be a strong energy around here.
Yeah, the energy is very, very strong. And to me, it's a very heavy feeling. Then I feel it in my chest, on my chest. It's a very, very heavy feeling. And that's another way for me to be able to tell how strong the energy is, or how many are even here. Because the more you have, the stronger it's going to be.
How will your dowsing rods react to a direct question?
If we're asking yes and no questions, first we'll ascertain, please show me which way is yes. And they point to the right, and then they'll go back. Please show me no. And they'll go to the left.
There we go.
Thank you.
I just couldn't quite see it.
And that's how we can get yes or no questions.
That makes more sense if they get to decide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And anyone who's never seen a dowsing rod, the handles are these copper tubes that you have no control over the rod that is slipped inside of. You can't spin it with your fingers. I've held them before. You have zero control. They move completely independently. Very weird thing to see for the first one if it's your first time, and if you don't understand that there's no control in the finger movement, you might not get that they're completely free floating there. And
exactly.
You have no control over that. So
now, are these the same kind of rods that you use to find water?
You can. The original is like the prong stick that they used to find water. And that's what it was called. They were dowsing for water. And that's kind of how this got started. It just kind of matured into more workable with two dowsing rods. So yeah, it just kind of grew up is what it boils down to. And I think some people still use the divining stick. to find water. And you can find water. It works.
I've seen it work.
Yeah, it works. It's amazing. I don't know how it does it.
With modern plumbing, not as many folks walking around looking for water as there was in the old days. So.
Yeah.
All right, so let's ask some questions and see what we can find out.
All right. We have a gentleman living in the bar. Did he die? Did he pass away in a violent way? That would be a no. All right. What
Did
about
he live here at the hotel?
That would be a no. Okay. Did he hang out at the bar a lot? That would be a yes.
That was a big yes.
Now we're getting down to knowing this guy. All right, how about you guys? You got any questions for any of the entities here?
Let's just do a random question. In number of entities, are there more than 8?
That's a yes.
Okay. Are there 12? No. Are there 11?
Are there 11 permanent residents? Or there are not 11 permanent residents. 11 total residents. That's a yes. So we have 11 total residents here. All right.
Yeah.
Anything from you down there? You got any questions for him?
Not for them. I've actually got one for you, though. You said there's kind of like a heaviness in your chest whenever things are around you. I mean, I picked up on that immediately, but also like right at the base of my neck and that kind of stuff. I mean, is that kind of all, just them being around?
You feel the pressure in your neck?
Oh, my neck.
Like right between my shoulders, but I can feel it like really heavy.
Okay. No, it doesn't. No, I get it simply right here.
So do you feel pressure in your neck?
Yeah, I can feel it in my chest, but like I said, I've got just kind of like almost like a tingly, kind of like a tension, like right at the base of my neck, right at my shoulders.
Oh, that's interesting.
So the little girl that you picked up on, is she a permanent resident of the hotel? Can we ask that question?
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Does the girl that we picked up on, does she live here permanently? She does. Did she die in the hotel?
No. No. Did she choose to come to the hotel?
What I'm picking up is that she came here because there's so many others here. And it was kind of, she wasn't alone.
Yeah, safety in numbers, yeah. There you
She
go.
wasn't alone. Right.
Any questions from you girls? You want to ask?
Can they hold each other here? Can like one spirit hold another spirit here?
Yes.
Oops. Is that you I'm bumping?
Wow.
So was the old guy holding the girl here?
No.
So it took care of your question.
Yeah.
There you
I
go.
know it
Good.
wasn't him.
Phew, good, because me and them were getting tight. We're going to have drinks with that back there later.
You'd have to have a talk with him.
Is one of the other permanent entities here holding the girl here?
No.
So it's something else.
Yeah, there's something else. Yeah.
Are there any other females other than the little girl here?
Women.
I told you, Alton's oldest prostitute was here. You weren't listening earlier. You didn't take notes or anything.
Well, ask if one of the entities is a prostitute.
Oh.
Now go ahead and ask.
Okay, go ahead.
Or somebody ask.
Are any of the spirits or entities here former prostitutes? Are current? Well, I don't know how they live. That was a resounding yes, though. That was a resounding yes, though.
Now you know why people come and go.
Oh, that was good, Dennis. That was a good one.
I think mystery has been solved. Mystery number one about the transients.
There we go. Oh, we just busted this one right open, didn't we?
Prostitute ring busted in Old Stratford Hotel. Wow, front page news here.
You know, one of the questions I was going to ask is any of the entities employees of the hotel or former employees? Yeah.
I'll beat plumber.
And that's not unusual either.
Yeah.
You come across that in other places, former employees or...
I would be remiss to not ask, is it the prostitute that's the former employee? No. Just checking. Unscrupulous people ran this motel at some time, I guarantee it.
Oh my goodness, that was good.
Do any of the entities come down into the radio station? Yes, they do. See, the cleaning lady wasn't kidding us when she said they were talking to her.
Do the entities like the show Riverbend Talent? Might be our only listener. Hey, they like it.
It was kind of swinging back and forth, like a couple of them doing, a couple of them don't.
That's typical.
All right, so anybody else got any more questions?
The other question I have is, should any of these entities go on into the afterlife or heaven?
Technically, they all should.
They all should, okay.
Well, because entities don't belong here on this plane.
Right.
They're supposed to be doing stuff on the other side.
But yet you had sort of a yes and a no, like the answer was yes, but then a couple of them were like, no, I'm not done here. There's drinks in the bar. You know, it's because the dowsing rod sort of swung yes and then swung back no quickly. So maybe some of them don't want to go.
Bingo. That's it right there. And when I have entities like that need to move on, but they won't, that's when I call for St. Michael and his forces to come and take them where they belong.
Are any of the entities here evil?
All right, there's a no.
They're just nice transient people who, liked hanging out at the hotel.
And listening to Riverbend Talent.
Right.
Half of them.
That's why they're here in the bar.
Let me just throw in this is just one roundtable question. The cleaning lady stated that she heard the piano the piano being played. Is that correct?
Now, what all did she tell us?
Bam.
Yeah,
that wasn't a question for you, Pigpen.
Oh, I thought that was a question for me. Okay, I'm sorry. I was ready to answer.
So yeah, just to fill in the listeners, we've had stories from the cleaning lady here that she'll walk out into the lobby and hear the piano playing upstairs.
Yeah.
So one of the entities here plays the piano. Is that correct? Is that why that particular entity stays here at the Stratford? Enjoys playing piano? Okay. Is the piano player male or female?
You can get a yes or no.
Okay, how can we do that?
Is the piano player male?
There we go.
Yes.
Okay, so it's a man.
All right. A very well-known man from Alton playing piano. Now, if we can narrow the time down, we will figure out who this entity is.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, that's all pretty interesting. Are any of the entities here? Do they ever feel in danger or threatened? No. Okay. It's all friendly ghosts.
Here ever. They like it here, probably.
Right.
Okay.
So the little girl that's trapped here, she doesn't feel like she's in danger or scared of anything. I mean, she's not.
No, she's not in danger. She's just trapped.
So I kind of have a procedural question, and so these entities are presumably trapped on this plane, and not trapped.
No.
So moving on to the afterlife is not necessarily a one-way ticket. Can they move freely between where they are now and where they should be?
They first have to go on to the other side. Okay, they have to do that first. If not, then they are stuck on this plane and doing the hauntings. Okay, once they go on the other side, they can come back and like watch over somebody, but they don't do like the entities that simply have not moved on. They're the ones that are active and interact and do things.
I see.
Mm-hmm. Does that make more sense?
So once once an entity does move on, are they free to come back?
Right, that's what it's saying.
Okay.
They can come back, but they aren't going to do
What they did before. Right.
Well, no, what the ones that choose to stay here for whatever reason, they don't, those people are the ones that we're talking about and we're seeing and whatever, and the ones that just come back to watch, they don't do that kind of thing. They're just there to like watch over somebody.
Gotcha. They're not there to interact or to have more drinks at the bar.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
The occurrence of sort of not reaching over into our world, but brushing up against our world, that's typically reserved for the entities that are not necessarily willing to go where they're supposed to go, or they're fighting it to some degree.
There's like 5 reasons that spirits, people, when they pass away, whether their spirit doesn't go on. They don't know they're dead. Their death was sudden, car accident, bullet to the head or something, and they don't know they're dead. They're attached to something, a person, property, furniture, a house. They're attached. And so they stay here because they feel they need to be by this, or they like it so much or whatever. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's why our little guy over there
won't leave the bar. He likes the bar.
He likes it. Yeah. So he likes it there. Okay, so that's where he just kind of stays. There can be, they were just mean and evil in life. And perhaps they were harassing somebody in life, and when they pass on, that doesn't change, because that's how their soul is. That's how they were. So they continue to be that. That's the ones that cause all the trouble or can hurt people. Okay? And then there are some that weren't very nice people, and when they pass away, they see the errors of their way here, and they feel they don't deserve to move on to the other side, to go through the light. They feel they don't deserve it, so they stay here. That's basically the reasons why entities, people, spirits stay here.
That's interesting. I'm always fuzzy on the technicalities of something. I'm kind of I like to figure things out, and when it's something that I'm generally not sensitive to this type of thing, but I'm deeply curious about it.
Right, yeah. No, I'm glad you're asking questions. Probably a lot of other people wanted to know the answers to those questions, too.
I was too afraid to ask.
Did any of them know each other in life before they died?
No. That's interesting too.
Yeah. Just a group of travelers.
Yeah, it's not surprising, at all. I don't know that I've ever really come across any entities that, if there was a bunch that they knew each other in life.
Hung out in life and in death.
Yeah, I've not come across that.
Huh.
So
interesting. You'd think that would be a common thing. If you could just go find your friends, you know what I mean? You're a transient ghost, you're not held down by a job or nothing.
Yeah. Well, your friends might have been the smart ones and went on where they belonged. That's why they can't find them.
Probably going to be the case with me, for sure. I'll be back there at the bar with the older gentleman.
So are any of the entities here, are they able to contact other spirits that aren't here now for us?
Doesn't work that way.
Doesn't work that way. We can't send them, looking for Frank Zappa.
No.
Get a message to Frank for me. I want to try out for the band.
Right. We want to hear. No, that doesn't work that way. If because they're here, okay, if they go over there, then that's where they belong and they're going to stay there.
Well, I was trying to ask that earlier. I phrased it wrong. I asked if it was a one-way trip, and it isn't, but most people don't come back after they get where they're going.
Most.
So can they see each other and like communicate with each other?
Who?
The entities that live here.
Yeah,
do they communicate with each other?
The entities that live here, do they communicate?
Yeah. Can the little girl talk to the old man if she wants to?
Yeah, they can.
So here we are. We're sitting here with Vicki Main and Dr. Lynch. We've got Cassandra Nelson, Jennifer Nelson, Alex Honky, and Jenna Honky, along with Dennis and myself. We've been hanging out here in the hotel for quite a while, and Dr. Lynch kind of got up and walked around the room the past couple of minutes while we were talking to Vicki. What'd you see, Doc?
I saw a few things fly across the table, across your heads, and fly on out of the room. So the bulk of the population, I think, has kind of moved away from us. But
they're bored with us. Oh,
there were a couple still here, and my only expertise, words of advice to any future ghost investigators: do not put your equipment on top of that piano. I had full batteries and full brand new everything, and it has now been totally almost depleted.
Wow!
And so I should have enough for 2 hours of videotaping. I've shot 16 minutes, and it's almost exhausting.
Wow!
And we know the piano player is here. We
were talking to her, and she does not. He does not like things set on his piano. Is apparently the issue. So
I normally don't.
You know what? I hate it when someone sets a beer on my guitar amp. I'll be honest. I do. I totally understand where this guy's coming from.
Well, what we need now is for him to play us out.
Play us out, Sam. Yeah. So, it's been interesting, kind of just sitting here. This is a sort of unexplored territory because there's so many haunted places in Alton. The Milton School and the Mineral Springs Mall and, of course, McPike Mansion, but you never hear about people coming up in the Stratford. And so this might be the first all-out investigation that's been done here. So thanks to Dr. Lynch for coming over and telling us what he knew about the haunted Alton, and Vicki Main for sitting with us. And I guess you now want to spend a little time talking to the little girl?
I do.
Okay.
I do, yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again for coming down. And where could people normally find you doing your events? Or is there a web page or anything they can watch for your events?
I have a Facebook page called Psychic Vicki on Facebook. I can also be reached at 314-398-2827. I do readings.
So if anyone wanted a personal reading, they could contact you for that area. Or do you do like a group readings also?
Psychic parties.
Psychic parties. Okay. Wow, that sounds much more pleasant.
Yeah. You know, everybody doesn't want their business out there somewhere, you know?
Right. A psychic party, a group reading sounds too much like therapy.
There you go. Exactly.
And once you said psychic party, me and the gentleman at the bar were suddenly like, well, we should do this, you know? It's a party now. Yeah. All right, so that's Vicki Main. You can just check her out on Facebook, Psychic Vicki. Thanks again for coming up.
It's a pleasure.
It's been a long time since I've walked up in the upstairs of this hotel. The prostitutes were all still alive last time I was here. That's not all I can say about it. All right, we're out of time. Thanks so much for all of our guests, and we hope everybody has a happy Halloween. And if you see anything walking around the Stratford Hotel, it could be anything from a piano player to a prostitute to a little girl. We just don't know. Several entities here. I think we'll have to come back and go one more level up next time. And see, if we walk up the next level, there could be a whole can of worms we open up there. Or a whole can of entities. Whole room of entities, I don't know. All right, well, thanks again to everybody. Hope everybody has a happy Halloween, and everybody get out and support local music and or art.
You're listening to Riverbend Talent. Now here's Dennis and Pigpen.
Back with Riverbend Talent. Dennis with you, and Pigpen too. It's a little scary up there.
Yeah. So there's what was it, 11 entities found this evening in the Stratford Hotel.
Most importantly, we nailed down the piano player being male and officially there, so the cleaning lady isn't gonna, think she's crazy when we tell her that,
Yeah, or she's gonna think we're all crazy with her. I don't know what's gonna happen on that, but either way, that very interesting finds up there, and so what did you guys think about it? Your first time walking up in the Stratford?
If we had more permission, I would like to go through the entire building, but what was there was authentic. It was real. And the entities, I must have videotaped about 8. I mean, I'm going to be conservative, but what I capture is not necessarily what's really there. There could be also more. And they could also be in different shapes and forms. So it's whatever the frequency that my camera is set on. So that's why I turn it over to Vicki so that she can talk to these guys.
Yeah, and get a little more specifics out of them. Exactly. Pretty interesting. And
one of the things we run across was a young girl. You were able to, after we finished up there, make contact with the young girl and kind of finish the story. You want to share that with us?
Sure. When we first went up there, I found a little girl, and all I picked up is she was trapped. And so I was like, well, I can't have that. I got to take care of her. So I went back to her, the same room, and she felt trapped because she didn't know where to go. She was too afraid to go on anywhere. So she just kind of stayed there, and the man that was in the bar, stays in the bar.
That's my buddy.
Yeah, okay. He was kind of protecting, looking over her.
Nice.
Yeah. And so I called for someone for the light to come and get the little girl, and her mother came, and she went on with her mother.
Good.
So she's taken care of, and it was.
So now we're down to 10 entities.
Yeah.
And some of them are transients, so they might already be going too. We don't know.
Right.
But that's good. So she's moved on to the light, and that's There you go, man. Interesting night in the Stratford Hotel.
Speaking of children, though, one that you guys are definitely known for investigating is the famous Exorcist that the movie was made after. You guys have been in there, and Vicki, you've cleared that house, right?
I certainly did, yeah. And I'd like to clarify for everybody, because I saw it someplace, somebody said she didn't get rid of that demon. No. The demon was gone, but there was an evil entity man that was there, and he was holding 2 children hostage.
Wow.
And that's who I cleared out of the house.
No, there's some DVD available, or some, what was that? That was Destination America. You can actually
that's
see
the live
this.
one. Then there's the
that
movie.
Was the live one. Yeah, they didn't do a DVD of that one.
Right. Then the documentary is The Exorcist Files: The Haunted Boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's by the Booth brothers, and you can, I think, find that on Amazon.
Amazon,
I'm not sure, but
right.
But they do go to different areas, locations. And they do sell them, at that. But there is a documentary, and I think they created another documentary with extra material, bonus footage, and stuff like that. So be on the lookout for that. The Exorcist Files: The Haunted Boy.
Right.
Check that out on Amazon. Just type in The Exorcist Files: The Haunted Boy on Amazon. It'll come right up. Or if you want to contact Dr. Michael Lynch or Vicki Main, they're both on Facebook. Vicki's is Psychic
Vicki on Facebook.
Vicki on Facebook. And how about you, Dr.
Mine's just Michael Lynch.
Just Michael Lynch on Facebook.
You'll see Paranormal News up there in my header.
There
so
you go.
You'll know that's me, and you can befriend me or message me. I've got several people out there who do active investigations, and they always hit me up for advice.
And you guys do like private parties and private readings and that kind of thing, right?
I do. I do psychic parties, and I do readings, private readings. And so if anybody would like to contact me, I'm at 314-398-2827, or again, on my page, Psychic Vicki, on Facebook.
And if you didn't catch that number, just go to altondailynews.com and check the podcast for any of that information.
Right.
Stole your line there.
That's good, man. I'm glad you're getting down to it finally. I got you trained well.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Dr. Lynch. Good to see you again. Been a long time. Thanks for coming down, and thank you, Vicki Main,
Thank you
for being here with us. And
sure. Thank you.
We'll have to get together and go maybe a little little deeper into the hotel, a little higher up to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's next time, next year we'll have a spectacular again. I'm ready for it.
Big cliffhanger. All right. Well, thanks for everybody for listening in for our Halloween shows, and everybody get out and support local music and art.